The Celtics-Nuggets game got really interesting yesterday. It was a complete collapse by the Nuggets, who gave up a big lead to lose it down the stretch. What do you think about the Celtics' performance, Mr. Rose?
The Celtics have been up and down this year. They've dealt with COVID issues. They've dealt with health issues. But you know one thing they do have is two budding superstars in Jason Tatum, who had a recent 50-point game, as well as Jalen Brown. And as they started to get healthy with Marcus Smart, who showed some great athleticism that proved to me that he's also getting healthy with a big dunk and some of the plays that he made, they're going to be a tough out. And they're going to be tough defensively in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Kemba Walker, that guy right there, is going to be the wild card. He was all NBA when they traded for him. They had Isaiah Thomas, who was averaging almost 30. They had Kyrie Irving, who was all NBA. Now they have Kemba. If he can be any version of himself, a team like the Nets that are extreme perimeter oriented, look at those matchups on paper, Jacoby. That would be a terrific series.
And when you look at the Eastern Conference standings, it just doesn't seem like what we thought it was going to be at the beginning of the year. There's a lot of dangerous teams there down at the bottom that you don't want to see in a playoff series. And I'm looking at the Pacers. We'll be talking to Miles Turner later. Then you've got the Celtics there. My Knicks are there. It's really interesting to watch this one form as we get to the stretch run heading into the playoffs. That's the Celtics side of this one. But the Nuggets, it was a weird performance from them. They were up through three quarters, towards the end of the third quarter, and then they just absolutely collapsed. They scored 8 points in the fourth quarter. Jokic started complaining to the officials. He actually didn't even finish the game. Malone pulled him towards the end. Jalen, they were playing so well since they added Aaron Gordon, looking like a true title contender. Do you think they just sort of sweep this one to the side, or is there significance in this collapse?
They had a terrific homestand, Jacoby. I think they won 4 or 5. And so you would take that on paper. And you mentioned adding Aaron Gordon, who's given them a terrific dynamic, but also he opened up the gate a couple of times and allowed Jason Tatum to drive right by him. I think that's something you got to fix. Michael Porter Jr. did the exact same thing with Jalen Brown as he went down the paint and did a big-time dunk. They were playing without Jamal Murray, which is going to affect clearly how you finish the game, and Jokic got frustrated. But don't worry about my Nuggets. We going to be all right. We going to be all right.
Well, the Nuggets are looking at the top of the Western Conference, and so are the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers doing so without their two superstars, LeBron James and AD, and they came into Brooklyn and got a signature win, Jalen Rose. What was the significance of that big win Saturday night, the Lakers over the Nets?
There's a lot of currency that came away from the Lakers' win. So when you're playing without your big stars, LeBron, AD, and Kuzma, and the other team is playing without Harden, when KD's on a minutes restriction and Kyrie gets ejected, this gives the other people a chance to step up. Schroeder was actually having a really good game. And then all of a sudden, THT starts having a really good game. Points and assists, gets a highlight move where he spins on the left and goes down the middle with a reverse layup. Ben McLemore gets to knocking down threes. And then now all of a sudden, your role players feel confident about their games. And Andre Drummond proves one of the things that I worry when everybody talks about the Nets, including me. They have KD. So when I get confused, I say KD's going to win the East. But I can't ignore the fact that they're going to struggle to guard against Joel Embiid, Giannis, and Lopez in the Eastern Conference in the paint. Andre Drummond was just physically having his way. That's something that they're going to have to shore up. Late in the game, it's going to be the big three, Joe Harris, and I believe Jeff Green, which means they're not going to be as tall, as physical as some of the teams that they're opposing in their conference.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.